Ravenwood Asylum had always been a place of dark whispers and chilling legends. Located deep within the forest, it stood as a haunting reminder of a grim past. Closed for over 50 years, the asylum had seen countless horrors within its walls. One autumn evening, a group of urban explorers decided to uncover the mysteries of Ravenwood. Alex, Jen, Mark, and Lisa had heard the stories, but were skeptical. They wanted to see for themselves if the legends were true. As they entered the courtyard, the air grew colder. The tall grass and ivy-covered walls added to the eerie atmosphere. They felt as if the asylum itself was watching them, waiting for them to make a move. Inside, the asylum was a labyrinth of dark corridors and abandoned rooms. The smell of mold and decay was overpowering. They decided to split up to cover more ground, each drawn to different parts of the building. Alex and Jen made their way to the basement. The stairs creaked under their weight, and the darkness seemed to swallow them whole. As they descended, they heard faint, ghostly whispers. Meanwhile, Mark and Lisa explored an old ward. The beds were neatly arranged, covered in dust. Personal items left behind gave the impression that the place had been abandoned in a hurry. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. In the basement, Alex and Jen found a locked door with strange symbols carved into the wood. Jen, a linguist, recognized the symbols as an ancient script used in rituals. With a sense of foreboding, they managed to pry the door open. Inside, they found a hidden room filled with occult artifacts and dusty books. The walls were lined with shelves holding jars of preserved specimens. In the center of the room was a large leather-bound book that seemed to pulse with a dark energy. Upstairs, Mark and Lisa found an old journal hidden under a mattress. It belonged to a former patient, detailing their harrowing experiences at Ravenwood. The final entry mentioned a ritual to summon dark entities. Alex and Jen began to flip through the leather-bound book. It was a grimoire filled with spells and rituals. One page caught their attention, a ritual to bind spirits to the physical world. The instructions were detailed, and the implications were horrifying. Mark and Lisa heard footsteps echoing through the halls. They called out, but no one answered. Panic set in as the footsteps grew louder and closer. They decided to regroup with Alex and Jen in the basement. Reunited in the hidden room, they shared their discoveries. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together. The asylum had been a place of dark rituals, and the spirits of those who suffered were still trapped within its walls. Suddenly, a low, guttural growl emanated from the shadows. Their flashlights flickered, and the temperature dropped. They realized they had awakened something malevolent. Alex, the most rational of the group, suggested performing a ritual to banish the spirits. Using the grimoire, they found the instructions for a cleansing ritual. It required a blood sacrifice, but they were determined to end the haunting. They gathered the necessary items: candles, salt, and a dagger. Mark volunteered to be the sacrifice, cutting his palm and letting his blood drip into a bowl. The room grew darker, and the air became heavy with tension. They began to chant the incantation, their voices trembling. The candles flickered violently, and a cold wind swirled around them. Shadows danced on the walls, forming grotesque shapes. The spirits began to manifest, their ghostly forms appearing in the room. Their faces were twisted with anger and pain. The group continued the ritual, their fear palpable. One of the spirits lunged at Jen, causing her to drop the grimoire. The candles were snuffed out, plunging the room into darkness. Panic ensued as the spirits closed in on them. In the chaos, Alex found the grimoire and continued the chant. His voice grew stronger, and the spirits recoiled. A bright light emanated from the book, filling the room. The spirits screamed as they were pulled into the light. The room shook, and the air was filled with a deafening roar. One by one, the spirits were banished, their forms dissolving into the light. The room returned to normal, and the group collapsed in exhaustion. The air was warm again, and the oppressive feeling had lifted. They knew they had succeeded in banishing the spirits. They left the asylum as the sun began to rise. The horrors of Ravenwood were finally laid to rest, but the experience left them scarred. They vowed never to speak of that night again. As they looked back at the asylum one last time, they saw the shadowy figure of a man standing in a window. It was Edward Ravenwood, the asylum's founder, watching them leave. The story of Ravenwood Asylum didn't end with the departure of the four friends. The haunting presence lingered in the town's collective memory, casting a long shadow over its inhabitants. Over the years, more curious souls ventured into the forsaken asylum, drawn by tales of the supernatural. Years later, a young couple named Emily and Tom, paranormal investigators by passion, decided to explore Ravenwood. Unlike the urban explorers before them, they were equipped with cameras, EMF detectors, and thermal imaging devices, hoping to capture definitive proof of the supernatural. As they walked through the courtyard, their devices beeped occasionally, signaling energy spikes. They felt an electric charge in the air, as if the spirits were aware of their presence and waiting to reveal themselves. Inside the main hall, they set up their equipment. Tom spoke into the camera, documenting their experience. "We're here at Ravenwood Asylum, one of the most haunted places in the country. Tonight, we hope to uncover the truth behind the legends." Emily explored the old medical wing, her thermal camera picking up cold spots. She felt a sudden chill, as if someone had walked through her. She called out, "Is anyone here with us?" Her camera caught a ghostly figure for a brief moment before it vanished. She gasped, "Tom, I think I saw something." Tom rushed to her side, reviewing the footage. The image was unmistakable, a faint outline of a person standing just a few feet away from Emily. They exchanged nervous glances, realizing they were not alone. Determined to find more evidence, they headed to the basement. The stairs creaked under their weight, echoing ominously. They found the door to the hidden room still ajar, the symbols on it glowing faintly in the dark. Entering the room, they felt a heavy presence. The air was thick with the scent of decay and something else, a metallic tang that made Emily's stomach churn. "There's something here," Tom whispered. They set up a spirit box in the center of the room, hoping to communicate with whatever was there. Static filled the air, punctuated by faint, disjointed words. "Help. Trapped. Leave," the box sputtered. Emily's voice shook as she asked, "Who are you? Why are you here?" The box crackled, then a clear voice emerged. "Edward, cannot leave you bound here?" Tom's eyes widened. "Edward Ravenwood," he breathed. "The founder of this place. He's still here, trapped by his own dark rituals." The atmosphere grew tenser. The air thickened, pressing in on them. They could feel the weight of countless souls, restless and angry, trapped in a place of suffering. Suddenly, a burst of cold air blew through the room, extinguishing their candles. The spirit box went silent, and an oppressive silence filled the space. Emily and Tom knew they had to leave. They packed their equipment hastily, their fear palpable. As they made their way to the stairs, the shadows seemed to move, reaching out for them. "We need to go, now," Tom urged. They rushed through the asylum, the whispers and shadows following them. The building seemed to come alive, the walls closing in, the doors slamming shut on their own. They burst into the courtyard, gasping for breath. The asylum stood silent once more, its dark secrets hidden behind its crumbling walls. They knew they had captured something extraordinary, but at what cost? Driving away, their faces were pale and their minds raced. They had evidence of the supernatural, but the experience had left them shaken. The legends of Ravenwood were real, and they had witnessed its horrors firsthand. Their footage showed the ghostly figure and the spirit box session, irrefutable proof of the paranormal. They uploaded the video, and it went viral, drawing more thrill-seekers and investigators to Ravenwood. A new group of explorers, intrigued by the viral video, prepared to enter the asylum. The cycle continued, the asylum drawing in the curious and the brave, feeding on their fear and curiosity. As word spread, Ravenwood Asylum became a hub for paranormal enthusiasts. Researchers, journalists, and thrill seekers all wanted to experience the infamous haunted site. Despite the risks, they were drawn by the possibility of encountering the supernatural. A team of researchers from a renowned paranormal investigation organization set up a command center outside the asylum. Equipped with high-tech gadgets, they aimed to conduct the most comprehensive study of Ravenwood to date. The team, led by Dr. Samantha Rhodes, entered the asylum with a mix of excitement and trepidation. They carried EMF meters, thermal cameras, and audio recorders, ready to document any paranormal activity. Dr. Rhodes gathered her team in the main hall, recounting the asylum's dark history. This place was a center for controversial treatments, she explained. Many patients suffered greatly, and some say their spirits never left. The team split up to cover different areas of the asylum. Dr. Rhodes and her assistant, Ethan, headed to the medical wing, while the others explored the wards and basement. In the medical wing, Dr. Rhodes and Ethan set up their equipment. The air was thick with an unexplainable tension. As they began their EVP session, faint whispers echoed through the room. Their audio recorder captured indistinct voices. "Help us! Trapped! Pain!" The chilling words sent shivers down their spines. They knew they were not alone. Meanwhile, in the basement, the team discovered remnants of occult rituals. Symbols were etched into the walls, and old candles and bones lay scattered on the floor. The air grew colder as they realized the extent of the dark practices once performed there. Anna, one of the team members, felt a sudden cold touch on her shoulder. She turned, but no one was there. "I just felt something," she whispered, her voice trembling. The others felt it too, an unseen presence watching them. Back at the command center, the monitoring team watched in real time as the investigators encountered unexplained phenomena. Cameras captured shadowy figures, and the temperature readings fluctuated wildly. The team regrouped and shared their findings. Each had experienced something unexplainable, reinforcing the asylum's haunted reputation. Dr. Rhodes decided to conduct a full-scale seance to communicate directly with the spirits. They prepared for the seance in the main hall. Candles were lit, and the team joined hands, forming a circle. Dr. Rhodes began the ritual, calling out to the spirits of Ravenwood. The room grew colder, and the candles flickered as the seance progressed. A palpable sense of anticipation filled the air. Suddenly the table shook, and a ghostly figure appeared in the center of the circle. It was Edward Ravenwood. His presence was overwhelming, his expression one of sorrow and anger. "Why do you disturb us?" he demanded, his voice echoing through the hall. Dr. Rhodes, her voice steady but respectful, asked, "Edward, why are you still here? What binds you to this place?" The spirit's eyes glowed with a haunting intensity as he responded, "We are bound by the suffering we caused." The team realized the gravity of their encounter. They needed to find a way to release the spirits from their torment. Dr. Rhodes suggested performing a cleansing ritual, one that could undo the bindings of the past. They prepared for the cleansing ritual, gathering materials and setting up in the main hall. The tension was palpable, each member feeling the weight of what they were about to do. The team performed the ritual, chanting and focusing their energy on releasing the spirits. The air crackled with energy, and the room filled with a bright, purifying light. The spirits of Ravenwood appeared, their forms gradually dissipating as the ritual took effect. One by one, they were released, their anguished expressions softening into peace. Edward Ravenwood's spirit was the last to be released. His expression softened, and he whispered, "Thank you," before vanishing into the light. The asylum fell silent, its dark energy lifted. The team stood in the now serene asylum, reflecting on their experience. They had succeeded in freeing the spirits, but the journey had left them forever changed. They packed up their equipment, feeling a mix of relief and awe. The legend of Ravenwood had been put to rest, but its memory would live on in their hearts and minds. As they left the asylum, the sun rose, casting a warm glow over the building. Ravenwood Asylum, once a place of darkness, now stood as a testament to the power of compassion and the importance of laying the past to rest.